Good evening and welcome, everyone. I am so pleased to be here, our community members, friends of the university, faculty, students, and staff from our entire system across the University of Minnesota and across the state for this interactive workshop. So this is part of our Voices series, and tonight I am delighted that we're in for such a treat. This series, Voice, Art, and Community, launched in January 2021, and we're really fortunate, blessed in fact, to welcome someone who exemplifies the series work to explore diverse voices through the arts and humanities. Someone who embodies how we seek to connect the arts to our communities and how this focus deepens our knowledge and helps us understand, explore, and be vulnerable together. And we also gather with the conviction that despite our shared progress on many fronts, we know there's still a lot of work to do, important work to do. And so in this as a university family, to learn together, to discover together, to serve, and collectively engage in tonight's important community workshop, which is focused on art activism and social change. So friends, I'm thrilled to be joined by National Book Award-winning poet, Professor Nikky Finney from the College of Liberal Arts. She's professor and poet at the University of South Carolina, and also recent National Book Award finalist, Douglas Kearney, and Associate Vice Provost and Professor Virajita Singh. So tonight's workshop is actually the second in a three-part series featuring Professor Nikky Finney. And on March 5th, we had Nikky engage with us in her first visit with us with Douglas and readings from her recent book, Love Child's Hotbed of Occasional Poetry. The conversation at that time centered on the social change and activism. And then we'll have our conversation tonight, and we also have the opportunity to look to the future, because on February 21st in 2022, we will gather again with Nikky and friends in the last of this series, where we'll focus on where we've been, where we are now, and where we're going. So please hold that date for February. But before we start our program tonight, and I turn the program over, it's my honor to introduce our distinguished guests. So first, Professor Douglas Kearney has published 6 collections, including Buck Studies, winner of the Theodore Roethke Memorial Poetry Award, the CLMP Firecracker Award for Poetry, and California Book Award Silver Medalist. His newest collection is Show, published by Wave in April 2021, for which he was recently named a finalist for a National Book Award. He has received a Whiting Writers Award, a Foundation for Contemporary Arts side has held residencies and fellowships from Kawekanam and the Rauschenberg Foundation, amongst others. He was raised in Altadena, California, and he teaches creative writing at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities and lives in St. Paul with his family. So welcome, Professor Kearney. Associate Vice Provost Virajita Singh is a designer, educator, researcher, university administrator, and an artist. Her teaching includes architecture design studios, design thinking, and courses related to design and sustainability. She brings design thinking and innovation to advancing equity and diversity at the University of Minnesota, where she serves as the Associate Vice Provost in the Office for Equity and Diversity. Her current academic work is focused on exploring the applied intersections of cultural transformation theory, partnership models, and design thinking as a strategy, particularly as it applies to the higher education context. And last but not least, a warm Minnesota welcome, a surprisingly warm for this period in October, Minnesota welcome to our next guest, Nikky Finney, who was born in South Carolina and raised during the Civil Rights, Black Power, and Black arts movements. She is the author of On Wings Made of Gauze, Rice, The World is Round, and of course, Head Off and Split, which won the National Book Award for Poetry in 2011. Her new collection of poems, Love Child's Hotbed of Occasional Poetry, was released from Tri-Quarterly Books and the Northwestern University Press in 2020. Nikky is a personal friend, one of my favorite people, someone I'm humbled to be able to call a friend, and of course also a former colleague from my time at the University of South Carolina. And her work is beautiful, it's eye-opening, it is renewing fuel on so many levels, and I'm confident that you will find it that way as well. So Nikky, it is my delight to welcome you here with us this evening. Douglas and Virajita. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you very much, President Gabe. Thank you all for being here. What places bring you joy? Which bring you pain? Maybe a little of both. What would it mean if we could go to those places and find our stories there alongside others? What would we say if we met together in those sites? What could we make together of our pain and joy? Nikky Finney uses the term hotbed to suggest a place of potential, of change and creation. Sometimes these hotbeds are made of geographies, descriptions, and wishes, but they are always emotionally charged. From these hotbeds, Nikky Finney creates poetry that honors truth and beauty, an act both insurgent and sensual, changing a listener or reader's sense of time, space, and possibility. What if we found our own hotbeds? What if we guided each other to these geographies? Could we transform ourselves and the spaces in which we gather? And what if we found that some of these resonant personal spaces overlapped and intersected with those of other folks? How would that help us see our communities and perhaps the world as more than geographic locations, but sites filled with emotional echoes and stories intertwined with private and public histories? How could such knowledge change our relationship to the systems that drive us through some spaces and keep us from entering others? What do we want to see happen in these spaces? The griots of West African societies are poets who bear the stories of their communities. How do we become a city of griots?
Hotbeds, Insurgent Design for Collaborative Transformation. Is it a digital mapping project? The portal for which is a website where participants anonymously connect their stories of joy and pain to specific locations anywhere on the planet. This project extends and overlaps a project created by Rebecca Krinke in 2010, transformed by Nikky Finney's Sensual Insurgents, the griots community storytelling and interest in the desire lines, off-road paths people make improvisationally through design space. Like this movement, our map is a living thing, growing every time someone contributes to the website, adding their narratives of joy and pain, drawing us closer to each other. It is a digital monument to our personal experiences and collective lives. Today's workshop then extends the possibilities of the map by giving us space to write, to create work that stretches our stories as far as the written word can take them, on and off a digital map. Nikky Finney will guide members of the Greater Minnesota community in writing personal works of truth and beauty. In this way, she too will be guided by the workshop participants' experience. We hope that those of you witnessing this workshop also participate wherever you are, drawing from the writing and dialogue, the techniques and concepts that Nikky Finney and the community members across Greater University of Minnesota will share with us. We invite you to contribute your stories to the digital map as we devise ways to bring this work from online to the physical geographies of our communities in February 2022. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Let's see where this path leads us. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back if you were with us before, and welcome for the first time if this is your first time being with us. I have so many feelings right now. I want to thank everyone for organizing this in the way that they have and their expertise leaning into this. Just a little backstory before we get right into the writing. I just wanted to read you something that might help you understand why this means so much to me and why I'm so passionate about it. My father wanted me to be a lawyer. I said at some point. My mother wanted me to be a teacher. He was of that generation who believed passionately that we had to aspire to those things in the community that were professionally aligned. And that was great. He thought my love of language and my love of words would work perfectly with the law. But what he also taught me was that I had to honor my creative spirit, and that is why I wanted to do this, why I want to do this, and why I wanted this to be a year-long exercise and not just a 1-minute thing or a one-time thing. And so we have so many members of the community here tonight, and we have the academy itself. We have we have schools, we have teachers, we have community members, and we have the large audience. And I can't even see you, but I just feel very strongly that something very powerful could happen. And I became a person an artist who wanted to really focus on human beings. I know that we live in this moment where we are guided sometimes too much so by cell phones or by computers or by other technologically driven devices, right? But who's behind the cell phone? Who's behind the computer, right? As the witness, saying, should I take this picture? Is this picture gonna get me in trouble if I take it? Should I hold this up to the world that is not always doing what it should do? So the human being behind all of that stuff going on is the person who I'm most concerned with today. I'm a guide. I don't have all the answers. I need to say that out front to everybody listening and everybody participating in this. I believe passionately in what I see, smell, taste, touch, and intuit, what I feel. And I feel like I live in a world that doesn't honor the sensory part of me enough. It honors my intellect, it honors my intelligence here, but it doesn't honor my intelligence in my whole body. And so this exercise really is an exercise in knowing your whole self, knowing what you are feeling when that whole self enters a geography or a space where the whole self is affected. So that's a really important thing to think about as we go into this a little deeper. I wanted to say a little bit extra. Virajita did a beautiful job of talking about the hotbeds, and I wanted to say a little bit more about that. I love being outside, and I love discovering things in the outer world that surprised me. And so when I wrote Love Child's Hotbed of Occasional Poetry, I discovered and made this form called Hotbeds, which as a gardener and as a person who loves to put my hands in the soil and push some things way down deep in the soil and to see what will grow, I said, this is the nurturing place. This thing that I am writing, I don't want to be concerned with form. I don't want to be so concerned with metaphor. I don't want to be concerned with how many syllables it has. Those are really important things to poets, right? But in this thing called Hotbeds, I want to catch the sensual world. I want to catch what it sounds like, what it smells like, what it feels like to me, the human being experiencing it. So tonight, we're going to try our hand at some hotbeds, not to worry about the form or those syllabic things or, how many, things are involved. Just your language, how you would say it and how it makes you feel is what we're focusing on. Okay, City of Griots, are we ready? I think we're ready. Here's the prompt. Writing prompt 1. And let me explain, we want everybody who's watching and listening to do this. There's no test. There's no right or wrong. I might give some comments on what I see with the volunteers who share their prompts on the screen. But really this prompt has 3 heads. You know, Lucille Clifton, two-headed woman. This prompt has 3 heads. And so they're all connected at the belly line, at the navel. The first one, describe a physical place, a location. It could be in Minnesota or anywhere where something happened that deeply affected you in a joyful or a painful way. Now, let me explain this a little bit. Think of that physical space. Think of that location. Think of a geography, right? Could be Minnesota, could be anywhere, where something happened that deeply affected you in a joyful or a painful way. Before the clock starts, we're going to do 10 minutes each head, right? We want to see the physical space first without knowing yet, that's number 2, if it's joyful or painful. The physical space, take us there. The details of the geography or the location. You can even, if you don't remember all of them, imagine some, because your imagination matters greatly. It doesn't have to be, this happened and it happened this way. What did you feel it looked like? What did you feel it sounded like? Your full sensory self taking us to that location. Was it a 7-Eleven? Was it a park? Your choice, not my choice. Lastly, it does not have to be a place where something happened directly to you. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a place where something happened to another human being, and because of your level of empathy or because of your intuition, you felt it deeply and personally. Just the physical space, describe that. Got it? Okay, let's try. 10 minutes. Okay, that's the first one. Let me say before we get some volunteers, I want to say 2 things that are really important that I thought of in that quiet. Isn't it crazy that we spent 10 minutes just now in quiet on Zoom, writing, feeling something? We don't do that. We live in this society where we have to be stimulated at all times by light shows and short skirts or tight pants or whatever. But this is a moment where we are thinking about memory and visualizing things where we have been. And that's a human thing. That's a human being thing. And the world tries to take that from us in so many ways by a new iPhone or new kinds of technological kinds of things. But we just spent 10 minutes in a kind of human silence thinking about something that I asked you to think about. I think that's amazing. Secondly, why the senses? Why do we focus there on when we're writing? Because we're human beings, because what our bodies feel can be talked about, can be shared with other people who have bodies. And we don't think enough about the memories that our bodies hold. Our brains hold memories, but our bodies hold memories as well. Thirdly, you just did the setting, the place. And this is one of the things I love about words. I thought for a long time that geography was like a mountain or a desert or where the sequoias are. Geography, by definition, has to include the human beings that also exist in that place. So that's why we spend time on the physical place before we let the human being come in and do what happens in part 2. Okay. Now we need some volunteers. Who would volunteer and get a badge of courage for sharing what they've written in the first head of the prompt?
We've got Adriana here.
Okay, Adriana, please.
Home is where I sugar bush in the spring, pick berries in the summers, rice in the fall, and tell stories and create art in the winter. You feel the cold air on your face and in your lungs. You hear the crinkle of the snow beneath your feet. You can drink the sap right out of the maple tree. Drip, drip, drip. You see green all around you, and that one bright berry catches your eye. You hear the birds and the bugs in the distance, and you feel the hot sun on your body. You touch the water, and you feel the current rushing against your hands, and in the distance, tall wild rice stalks fill the bay of water before you. You look outside to see the leaves falling, and the air is getting colder. Big snowflakes start to fall, and they dance as they fall to cover the ground.
Thank you, Adriana. One of the things I really love about what you were writing is, we are 80% visual. As human beings, they say it's our largest sense. So, but the other senses come in very important there too. Snow on the maple tree, wild rice stalks. This is the home that she's describing there. Crinkle, I think you said, of snow. Crinkle is not necessarily eyes. What is it, folks? So we get some sonic, some vocalization in there too. So this is why the world comes alive in that kind of writing. Lovely.
All right, why don't we go with Danielle next, please?
West Peach Street, 45 minutes south of Houston, now a bustling suburb, soon to be absorbed by the city. Then a street with the same 8 families for the last half century at least. Those families are likely gone, except for 1 or 2. Then the pavement burned into the base of my feet, and it burned good. A sizzling heat that can fry an egg instead fries my heels. It makes me run faster, I'm convinced, so I deny myself the cool relief of grass for this hot trial, hissing out excitement while dodging the raining debris of oak trees. Soon I am bored and take a break to collect roly-polies to touch the sensitive leaves that close up near the foundation of my grandmother's house. I make up stories about the empty field across the street, scaring myself before I even know what Jeepers Creepers is. We are in the country, my cousins from the inner city tell me, and I lean into it, convincing them that I tip cows in my spare time. When the night veil drops, I am inside cooling down, but can still feel the sting of the pavement, reminding me that I may be silly, but I am alive.
West, I think this is what you said, Danielle, Peach Street. Did you say Peach Street? West Peach Street, specific, very specific. 8 families, the same 8 families, the repetition of that. 45 minutes south of Houston, the detail, hissing back to the sonic sound of something you want to hear when you're talking about a place. Roly-polies, you can see them, you can also feel them in your fingers if you've not picked up a few in your childhood. But then we get all the other things coming along, which is the first thing Danielle was saying is like, the heat is also one of the things, but is it still there? Is this place with so many memories for this human being still there? Beautiful.
All right, why don't we hear from Joshua now, please?
The rustling of the wind dances through the follicles of the trees. Green, reds, and oranges on the petals of the leaves. Rooted grounded firmly to the steed of our eternal earthly mother. I stand, prayed hands, taking one breath, then another. The songbird sings its repetitive, soothing tune. The wisp of my spirit ruptures out of its cocoon as creation proceeds to flow in me, through me. I attune to the waving, shapely ripples of the river.
So many sensory words, rustling, sound, and feeling, because you can, even though it's a sound word, the wind is felt by the body. The colors of the leaves, green, red, orange, again, bringing that visual to life on the leaves. And then the songbird singing, and then the ending on the river. Geographically, the writer has put us someplace. We don't know what's gonna happen yet, but we are texturally in a place where then the next prompt comes in to say what will happen.
Thank
Good
you.
work.
Can we go to Ebony next?
Thank you. 302. An inner dungeon surrounded by walls, hid away from the rest of the world. No one knew it was there unless you told them. Marble staircase leading up to the mezzanine, mysterious door, don't know what lies behind. No windows, no air, but the noises from the jail cells above you tell you there's life. Is it good life? The couches and coffee and artwork that line the walls can't erase the horror that is buried in them. The pleasantries, forced and contrived, can't ever take the place of the warm smiles and hugs on the outside. This is where Blackness goes to die. Though no one would tell you after all they're doing equity. But your killer cop co-workers and fragile directors and colleagues who cry and throw a fit whenever you talk about centering Blackness. And boss who tells you you're being racist for focusing on other folks, the folks whose death got you the grant in the first place. And the council members, can't forget them, who try to take your money and underestimate your work at every turn. All leads you to conclude that Blackness can't live here. Blackness not in 302, not in the division of race and equity where everyone is supposed to be included. After all, that's why the office was rearranged. But you're not welcome. You never were and never will be. And that's why it hurts so much.
There's something happening here that I really want to say to Ebony, because she's building. Something is building here. And she's a very good student in the beginning. And then, Ebony, because I want you to work on this. This is really important, okay? 302, is that don't tell me. It's either a number of a room or a building or something like that. It has the allure of place. 302, inner dungeon. I am beginning to feel how the writer feels about this place, but I'm gonna push her to go back and some more description. Marble staircase, right? Marble is typically a thing that has to do with upper echelon, something, right? But that's not where she goes eventually. She goes to actually the second prompt, which is the second part of the prompt, because I don't know if she got a little bored, right, with the descriptions and in terms of the place. But when she said Blackness lives here, that's not a description of the physical place. That is Ebony coming into the scene, and that's really valuable. And I want her to know the difference between those two, because we need the second part along with the first part. Ebony, do you understand? You understand what I'm saying? Don't lessen your description there in the first part, because we need that second one. But she got there. She's a good student, so she got there before I could tell her what to do. But I want you to know, as writers, when you're looking at, or people who are dealing with building something, how important it is to have that first level, right? Because the reader is like, where are you taking me into this dungeon with this staircase and these holding cells? We can talk about that later. But then we get how she feels about it. And I'm still wanting a little bit more description.
Shall we turn it over to you for the next prompt?
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. Here we go. And Ebony, you can still do what you're doing, just add on to it. So here's the second head, you guys. Using sensory words, reveal how you feel, right? Reveal by using sensory words. These are words that highlight sight, smell, taste, touch, sound. If this is a play, if there should be no equivocation here. Is this a place of joy or is it a place of pain? And because of the words you will choose to describe that, we will know without you saying, don't say this is a place of pain. That's telling. Show me by using certain descriptive words and language here. Reveal, this is the reveal for the second part of this prompt. Using before we start, this is also where you reveal what happened to you as a human being who felt the joy or the pain in the place. This is where you define what feels joyful. It could be the smallest thing. It could be some act of kindness. It could be something that would never be as overt as something that would make the nightly news. Something you experienced personally that thousands might have experienced, but only you experienced this. You capture that in the description, in the physical description, and reveal to us which side of this emotional, sensual fence that we're going to stand on. Okay, we have 10 minutes. How you feeling, everybody? Don't leave me now. As the Baptist preacher would say, we're just getting started. Come on. Okay. Not that I'm Baptist. Douglas, you want to choose some? Or Virajita?
Yeah, let's see some volunteers for the second
Oh,
prompt.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, we got Tish, we got Hawana, we got Makeda, and if somebody else wants to jump in, we have space for one more. There's
Okay.
room for more. Okay.
I see. Let me just say, we got the place in the first head, and then now we're talking about the human being that is involved, because that is what we're centered on. The physical location is geography or geology, but we don't turn away from the human being that is in the film, in the camera's eye, in the frame. That's what we're focused on here, okay? Beautiful. Tish?
Give thanks. Doors slamming, cars slowing to stare, keys hitting the pavement, skin, body, and organs absorbing blow. 6 squad cars parked on various sides of the streets, lights flashing, blues everywhere. Dinner creeping up my throat, all parts of me desperate for escape, hair erect on crossed arms, shielding face, then abdomen, then face, then my body bent over, torso pressed against the cold steel squad, tongue offering pleas through pooling red blood leaking from my lips, my eyes searching desperately for a badge number to memorize until
I can't even write all of the words that were here. Blues everywhere. Blues everywhere. Dinner creeping up, not dinner settled in my, creeping up. This is the language that tells you something violent is happening. Abdomen pressed to the cold. Those are the descriptors that tell you which side Tish is on in this conversation about joyful or painful. Keys. There was something Tish said about keys next to the body or abdomen. I can't remember. I was writing, you was speaking and I was writing not fast enough. Desperate is a word that tells you what? This is not joyful. This is painful. Leaking, the word leaking out. Some really strong language there to tell you this is a painful scene. Lovely. That's a great job, Tish.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear from Hawana, please.
I hear it before I see it. Something being dropped into some hot grease. The air smells of catfish and the air pops of grease. But the sign says no catfish. The sign says French fries. I hear a vegan woman mumbling under her breath, why they cooking the French fries in fish grease? A baby is crying, hungry, I guess, and the mama reaches into her purse and offers the baby some Lorna Doone cookies. Then I see it. Somebody in a green shirt jumps up onto the stage. I hear them thud when they hit. Then I see two flashes of color, one green and one red. Then the green shirt jumps back. And then the white shirt tries to snatch the mic from the green shirt. And then I see an old man who is also wearing a green shirt say, y'all need to cut this mess out. Then he falls. And when they carry him away, I see his shirt says, salvation is free, y'all. Salvation is free.
So I'm going to assume here, and Hawana can tell me if I'm wrong, but because she didn't read the physical part at first, she starts us right there. And you don't know where she is. I hear it before I see it. Something being dropped in some hot oil. Everything's cool. We're just in a place. And the reader is not yet pulled into the human drama. Catfish, she says, or no catfish, right? A baby is crying. The scene is could be any place, right? And then somebody is, what did you say, Hawana? Somebody is in a green shirt. And then one something and one red. What did you say?
There is one in a green shirt.
Right, and one in a red. So the colors, we don't have any other description, but the colors could mean so many different things. And then she said, and then he falls. Bam. Athena, I heard your lips say bam too. Bam, right? And then she even lingers a little bit longer to tell you, as the person's being taken out in this very painful scene, what his shirt says. That's like the camera goes. Really, really, really wonderful.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sharing. Makeda.
All right.
Come on, Makeda.
Then came the mass gatherings, a recreated village with thatched houses, elders sharing stories, young people dressed as keepers of the culture, sharing the stories of Mary McLeod and Harriet, the cars and jump corps. There was even a wedding parade, years of celebrating us, then pop, 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 everyone scatter, as Fella would say. Then hit, hit, hit. I got it. Woo, woo. Come on, boy, relax. He's not dangerous. Look at me, mommy. I'm swinging. You can't park here.
first line you said, Makeda, before thatched housing, what was it? Then something.
And then the mass gatherings.
And then the mass gatherings. And then the thatched housing, the cars, which when Makeda goes back to work on this, come on, everybody, what could she do with description to make that car image more particular? The 68 Impala hiked up in the back, the deuce and a quarter, 1982, silver green. You know, I know a deuce and a quarter. That's my daddy's car. Come on. So this is where you get the shell of the story, but you go back and you start talking about what color that Buick was, or what year it was. And that's, you may not know it yet, but that's the part where you go back and do that. And then she says, even a wedding party. So you have all of these parts of the community, what? Coming together. And then in a similar way to Hawana's story, pop, 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 the intrusion of the gun sound is there. And then a little boy saying something to mommy, he's not something, and I got it. So the voices of the people, one of the things that's really important in this piece is how Makeda is bringing in the voices, the language of the people in this moment. Really strong, lovely stuff.
Next, we'll have Athena share.
Hi. An ambulance or cop car sirens down 57th Street, a block behind me. I pull my shawl up so that it hugs my neck, but my lower back feels the sharp wind. I would cross the street, but I want to be invisible, want to furl into myself and be carried off. Instead, my clogs thrum and beat against the sidewalk. I should be counting the cracks, stepping over them. What I want to avoid, though, is the two men punching one another hard in the trim yard before that old house with its one dormer centered in the attic like an unblinking eye. My fists are warm and sweaty in the pockets of my jeans, and I can't unfurl them. There is not enough room for comfort, not enough room to relax.
Athena. The cop cars. So in writing, sometimes we have this long lens, right? We have this like what we see in the wide angle moment of life, right? And then we have the cop car, and then we get a closer, I pull my shawl up, and then we have the wind hitting the lower back. How many times have we done that? We have to reset our clothing, my clogs on the street, missing the cracks, and then we get to the scene. And one of the things that I would love to see a little bit more, Athena, is when two men start punching, does your walk change? Do you get a little bit, does your walk pick up in a brisk kind of way? Do you feel threatened, like coming over, to your side of the thing, or are you just trying to get away? That would help us a lot know how, vulnerable Athena feels, the I voice feels in this moment. How unsafe, unsure that that's gonna stay over there and not gonna hurt. So those kind of things in the second edit or draft, Athena, you could go back and put, but some beautiful description here. Really lovely job.
And finally, we have Raquette.
I sat in the midst of humming and buzzing, of low-speaking voices. I was hearing on another level what my mother's once preached. I looked around to be met with trance-like movements that led me to sway against my logical thinking mind. Permission, I flashed back to moments of sparks that crashed against my ideas. of what was possible at that time. I felt a rush of calm, clarity, total trust, and wanted to embrace it. The harmonious waves of her logical, only thing, nothing. I'm sorry. The
It's okay.
harmonious waves of her logic, only thing, nothing was said. No one heard a peep. Spirit was full in this place, but was I imagining it? I looked around, hoping my eyes would validate, confirm what I was feeling, what I thought I was hearing. All the wrinkles in my brow, my forehead faded, the heaviness on my heart deflated like a slow leaking tire.
Okay. Riquette, I'm gonna mess with you for a little bit here. You gonna let me?
Go right ahead.
I love humming voices. And I wanna know, what are they humming? Give me a song, Riquette. Just think of a song that might fit right there.
Okay.
No, tell me. Name a song. Swing low, sweet chariot.
All right.
Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot. Which one means more? Or how do they work together? Humming voices, low speaking voices. What my mother preached. Girl, you better keep your pants legs down or your dress legs up. Whatever thing it was. Let's hear some preaching, right? So you set us up beautifully. But then we want to do what, Riquette? The sound of that voice, not just as a description, but a line in it like that. Two moments that crashed. Now I have a question mark there. What happened? Harmonious waves of her logic. Spirit was full, beautiful, all the wrinkles, and then slow leaking of time. But I'm not sure what happened. Can you tell me? Can you tell me what happened?
It was actually a decision I was really struggling with for like months. And I went to an event and they had this woman just kind of, she was supposed to be dancing or moving and swaying, and just in me kind of experiencing the experience, I was able to clear my mind and create a place where I can understand what decisiveness I needed at that time.
Which decision, which way you were gonna go?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's a really important moment. Personally, it's exactly what we're talking about today, and exactly, it's defining, right? That moment is the defining moment for you. You could have gone left or right, and you decided based on the swaying, the low speaking voice. But let me ask you one more question. What do you think in that moment helped push you to one side or the other? What was it?
I think it was all of I was listening not to what she was saying. That's why there was a lot of humming. So I didn't know the actual words. I kind of felt the energy, and it was what led me to come to Minnesota, because I was not coming to Minnesota. I thought of Little House on the Prairie, all that other stuff. So that was not something that I was choosing at the time, but she made the decision actually something that it felt calm when I thought about, hey, I'm going to go. I felt a certain alignment that clicked.
Beautiful.
that
So
I
that
didn't
was that.
feel.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, excellent. Okay. Beautiful job. Okay. Last one, you guys. This one is gonna require the intuitive, the imagination, because the third prompt, the third head is about to come up, and I'm gonna explain it to you. Douglas has already told you what a griot is. You already know what a griot in the West African tradition is, right? You hold the memories and the histories of your village, of your people, of your family. That's what a griot does. So you are a member of the city of griots. That's what we're doing here. A human being with the right to feel and document. That's what we've done. We wrote, we documented a moment. But then what do? Do we hand what we feel and what we see and what we've experienced over to somebody? Say, oh, can you do something with this for me, please? No. We decide as a community what we do with everything we know that has happened here. So I ask you, this last part should involve actual action or imagined actions. Should we paint a gold flower on the grass somewhere? Should that stage where somebody got shot, right, have a plaque on it? Should we build a bridge from one building to another? Should the name of the person you saw do the kindest, sweetest thing be painted on the next, I say phylum of orchid because I love orchids. Use your power and imagination. Don't think it can't happen. Anything is possible. Should a waterfall be put in the middle of the road somewhere where 2 cars crashed and 2 people died? Should kind words be written on the steering wheel of every police car to remind them of something? I don't know. What should we do with the things that happen to us that are, we're taking down statues that have been up 100 years. What do we replace those statues with that have to do with us? Because this is what I want you to understand. I believe we live in a world where the status quo sees the person who is pursuing their deepest measure of human expression, which is what we're doing here tonight, as something over there. Something tolerated, but not encouraged, because this country has always been afraid of an empowered self. What if we had communities of people empowered to rise up and raise up different kinds of monuments that have to do with our pain and have to do with our joy? What should we do? That's the prompt. We might not go 10 minutes. Maybe we could go 7 minutes. What do you think? Can we do that? Maybe even 5. 10 minutes is too much time. You're thinking yourself out of it. Let's do 5 minutes and see what we come up with. What do we do with the places that are filled with memories of joy and pain for us? Okay. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, everybody. This is the third head on the one prompt. And I believe this is really important. All of them are important. But as Virajita said in the chat, we're here because we feel very passionately about making our future. How does that look? How is it created out of what we feel and know? And you can't leave this part out. Sometimes I feel very, as a writer, I'm not sure. I know how I feel inside. And when I take it out of the inside of me, I wonder what happens to my imaginings. I wonder how much power they have. But this is a really important part of it. So who has some ideas?
All right, we got Joe. We have time and space for 2 or 3 more. Who else wants to get in on this?
Come on, y'all.
All right, we have Ann.
Yes, beautiful.
And Adriana and Bree. All
Great.
right, thank y'all.
Joe, start us off.
All right, much gratitude. I don't know, I'm just, just playing around. We having fun out here. All right, Like an orchestra of organs, the body keeps the score. The muscular, the cellular, and blood memory all lives in me, a vessel of infinity, asking to breathe. A felt need to be freed in the communion of other bodies broken open. A longing to dance in the streets of justice with each touch. That's all I got right now.
A vessel, dance in the street. What was the last thing, Joe?
I said, a longing to dance in the streets of justice with each touch.
So I don't know if that's your answer to my third part of the prompt, but dancing in the street to justice sounds right to me. Sounds like that is some act that we can do as a community together. Just doesn't have to be the only, but we forget about the importance of the body moving, the importance of dancing, and the importance of, the ritual of that is taken away from us in so many different ways. And we're taught to be like, don't move, be stiff. And that's a beautiful way of saying that. Beautiful.
Reminded me of Martha Reeves and the Vandals.
Yeah, dancing in the street. I hear you.
All right.
Yes.
And
listen to your footsteps echo on this expropriated indigenous land. Beneath your feet, our mother reclaims this expanse, beginning with East River Road, crumbling cliffs along Hahawakpa. Expect her. Listen to your footsteps echo. Beneath your feet are the bones of ancestors who refuse to be collected in tin. Ancestors who hold liminal space, sending and receiving messages, whispering hope and survivance to us. Insurgents, demanding land back from Morrill Hall to Freeman Commons. Expect us.
Did you say expect us? Listen to your footsteps. East River Road. This is the back to the beginning, to the first head and the second head, getting the description in there. Listen to your feet. And then Ann said something about bones underneath that. Insurgent. Expect us? She's telling you they're coming. She's telling you we're moving forward in that kind of way. It's beautiful. Expect us in the street, expect us moving forward, expect us everywhere. This is what I mean by the creative spirit in you is the first land. This is the first land, right? And then you go out of this body into what you need to do out in the world. Stop a pipeline, take a statue down. It has to start here. It has to start with what you know about yourself and what you will do for this body, you will do for that body.
woo, okay, mic is hot. Let's hear from Adriana.
We listen, and we listen. The words that leave their mouths might make you uncomfortable. This feeling makes you want to run, but you can't because you see you in them and them in you. You remember that despite our perceived or real differences, that we all love and grieve in same or similar ways. To do and speak from the heart and to do and say the right thing. We listen, we act, and we change.
Yeah. We listen. Repetition is holy. You don't just say it because you can. You say it because the repetition is a rhythm, is breath hitting the air, is the trees listening to you. We listen, makes you want to run what we are saying. We listen, it's a chant. It's a chant. Beautiful.
So next is Bree.
The many winters before colonization were filled with song and dance. Our voices lifted to Creator, and He often spoke back. Then our hair was cut, our languages stolen, our homes burned, lives stolen, families torn apart. All the atrocities of genocide ignored even to this day. But something was empowered through all that, our resilience and desire to live in love. Even after years of pain and loss, we still remain, yet something stops us from sharing our song and dance in non-Indigenous spaces. Our language begs to be heard, our stories begging to be shared. Our ancestors want to see us strong again. It's okay to be Indigenous in these spaces. It's our birthright. Pierce the silence placed on us with song and trills. That's how we show the world that we're still here.
Bree, is that last line the kind of answer to the third part? Like the language, like the doing, like the being, that's showing the ancestors that you are still here? Okay, beautiful. Steve, your mom is watching.
Yes.
Mom.
I've taken a little bit of the pieces from all the prompts and try to bring it into this one. And I'll kind of share this and love to hear your feedback. So 2 times I've experienced near-death experiences on this bridge that is supposed to keep us up, not break us down. 2 times I've seen the trauma played out again on the screen for the world to see. One from structural damage and one from emotional damage. It so happens that these pivotal moments happen at the same place, right at the tip of the U of M campus, a campus that is at the center of the world at times for the wrong reasons. One screams, provide me the right resources and I will keep my foundation as strong as it could be. And one screams, while I may want to be progressive, the world wants to run through us. This area is near a place where community, empathy, and education meet. So this structure should be a symbol that showcases the principles we stand on. The structures should be strong enough to hold the weight of the world so that anyone traveling to or from feels secure. We are moving forward regardless of the trauma that comes, and that should be a symbol of our movement moving forward. We will not stop moving forward.
The bridge? Are you saying build a bridge?
Yep.
Are you saying build an actual bridge, Steve?
Yes, a strong bridge.
That's what I'm talking about. A bridge that goes from the tip of UM's campus to the community and to the other place that you talked about.
Yes.
Because geography, back to geography, is not just the UM campus, the downtown, all of that. Geography is you. And every time you get to the tip of the campus, something happens. So that ground right there, you are saying something needs to happen right there that doesn't make the lines of demarcation, that's over there and that's over there and that's over there and that's over there. That we all have to cross this bridge. That's what I'm saying. That's what a city planner needs to hear. That's what a government needs to hear. It doesn't make everything right, but you, City of Griot person, to me, that's a real structural difference in a place. Thank you for that.
Wow, thank you all. I know people's mics are quiet, but I'm just gonna, clap right here. Thank you all for participating, and everybody who has been participating, whether in this workshop here or from places in the audience. You build a space of creativity, and you are allowing people to hold that. And that is a gift that you're giving to everybody else in this, who's on this call. And if you did not speak, you were here to witness, and that too is a gift. We have a little bit of time for maybe some questions. If people have questions, just so you know, the workshop was intentionally designed in such a way that questions could come at the end, sort of like, keep y'all thinking about what you were making and to not, to kind of move into a different direction. But now if you have questions, you can use the people in the workshop here, you can use the chat function. And for people who are watching from the larger audience, please feel free to use the Q&A function. As you can imagine, we're not going to be able to get to everybody, but we'll get to as many people as we can in the next, say, about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, all right? But I'll also just let some appreciations pour in too. While we're getting those questions in, I'll ask one just to kind of get us started. So, Nikky, I wanted to know more about how experience intersects with memory and the sensory. Like there was a specific order to how we were brought through the process. Is that speaking to a larger way of thinking about how we come to have certain kinds of knowledges? What organized that structure and that movement?
I think that I'm not always clear about how things come to me, first of all. I just I felt that this was the right process to go through. But if I was there, I would love to have a conversation about, did anybody ever tell you, and this is to the whole room, that your memories and your feelings about something and the way you see the world matters? And when did you get an inkling or the knowledge that you belonged in that circle of human beings whose the things that you go through, the things that you feel as a human being matter to somebody other than, right, your mama, your daddy, or the people who just love you because you come from them. So I'm really interested as a poet in the human experience being something that matters, being something that builds cities, is something that designs how we don't have to live in such segregated communities. We don't have to listen to the liars and the idiots tell us how we should live. I think it's the people whose hearts lead the way. I'm not trying to be a romanticist about that. I really do feel that we don't access our humanity enough. And this was just a 90 minutes of it. But if I was there, I could better back and forth see people in the audience, how uncomfortable they are, how comfortable they are, how they were scribbling into something. I mean, I feel like these things could absolutely map out how a city feels about itself beyond the things that happen to individuals. Things are always going to happen to individuals, but how a city feels like, does the city remember me? Does the city see me? Does the city take me in, or just on occasion, on just certain, one day out of the year, or, that kind of thing, that there's a more woven way we can live. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to think about us. I wanted to think about how we don't use what we know. I don't think we use, as a society, we don't use what its individuals know enough. We don't use that enough. I don't know if I answered your question, but.
You did more than answer my question, so yeah. There is another question that has come up. And this is from Lisa B. things we should do. So things under the we should do. And Lisa writes, I am wondering, may we reenact local workshops like this, giving full credit to you, of course, in our own spaces to build this city of griots and make more action.
Let me say, Lisa, I don't know who you are, but let me just say this. I came to Minneapolis about 10, 12 years ago. I did a reading, did a workshop. I didn't do a workshop, I did a reading. But the people in the room, I'll never forget. And I've told everybody who was on the initial call about this. The folks in that room who were from all cultures and all parts of the community loved books, loved language, had the most perceptive questions about my work I'd ever experienced in my life. I said to the president of I told her this story and I said, I always wanted to come back because there's something there. It's in the land, it's in the people, it's in the love of book making, art, but we don't put ourselves enough in that. I think you have a brilliant idea. I don't even care if you give me credit. Give yourselves credit for coming together and wanting to do that. That, I think, is an alive community. And not just bodies walking, but figuring out, leaning in, listening. That's a beautiful idea. And it's why we're here. It's what we've been trying to do. Yes, please do that, please.
I'm gonna just do a quick check to see if we have any more questions.
Steve has one.
Steve? Okay. That's still lingering.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just that's just like a hand up, kind of a, if it's one hand, it's all right.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But I mean, yeah, I feel like in the way you've answered the two questions so far, you've contained and opened up so much. And I really appreciate you bringing us back to the principle that is, you're here as a guide, but we're also all guiding each other. And so that, giving that back, like in such a direct way to Lisa, I think is something that we should remember, not only for this event, but how we think of community, how we build community, that we are guiding each other through. At the same time, I really do appreciate Lisa's desire to make sure you got attributed.
I appreciate that.
Because there is erasure that happens.
Yes, absolutely.
So this has been a beautiful moment. And so I think what I want to do is I don't see any other questions. I see lots of appreciations and affirmations popping up. But Nikky, do you want to close us out? Virajita and I are going to talk a little bit about the mapping project, but you've got this wonderful momentum, and I would love to hand it over for you to close us out.
I just want to say one more time that the creative spirit that is inside, not just the poets who publish work and are known as poets, or the artists who make art and are known as artists, but the creative spirit that is in each of us is a well, is an untapped well. And I feel it tonight. I'm going to get my booster shot tomorrow because I'm really trying to get there in February in person. I really want to do that. So thank you for your honesty and your willingness to be in this space with me and us as we try to create something that I think has not been created and has not been really lifted up in a way where we're not individual things. We're all people with a creative spirit leaning into each other. So I just want to thank you for that. And you and Virajita can talk about the mapping, but I thank you all for so much.
Thank you so much, Nikky. Can we all just, I know you don't want to just be the receiver of some applause.
It's all of us. It's
we're
all
clapping
of us.
for everybody. Everybody's here. Everybody here. Thank you so much. And thank you for, wanting to come back and for being eager to come back. We can feel that even through this through this medium of Zoom. But on the subject of the digital and the physical, perhaps we should talk a little bit about the mapping project, Virajita.
Sounds good, Doug. Thank you, Nikky Finney, and thank you to all our workshop participants for guiding us through this truly transformative experience today. We thank you for joining us and hopefully writing with us today. We also invite the audience to share your writing with us using a new mapping tool created in partnership with our colleagues in uSpatial, which is a unit of the University of Minnesota Office for the Vice President of Research. So at any time between now and before our third and final event that Nikky mentioned and others have mentioned as well in the Nikky Finney series on February 21st, we welcome you to add to this map by visiting z.umn.edu/map-joy-pain. And the instructions are there as well, but feel free to send questions if there are any questions arise. So with that, I'll turn it back to Doug. Thank you.
So once again, that address is z.umn.edu/map-joy-pain. I kind of feel like I'm advertising monster trucks, like Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. But anyway, today, as in today's workshop, we want you to consider your emotional connection to a geographical place and our wider communities. Imagine what should happen next and tell us about it using this map. In this way, you're going to be like griots, witnessing place and community. So it can be very local. You'll see you can zoom in onto this map very, very closely, or it could be something somewhere on the other side of the world, but it's a place that's resonant for you, with has an emotional connection. Perhaps we can, so I think we advance to slides 4 and 5. We also encourage you to interact with this map to see what others in your community are imagining and experiencing. You can view the map at z.umn.edu/view map. And we're going to be getting in contact with you all via email about further events in the final event in the series. So we'll reproduce some of this information there. But thank you so much for putting it on the screen. When you click on, you will see what other people's experiences have been. As you notice, it's anonymous, but that way you can sort of see what's happening in the world in connection to places and spaces that you've been. We will be connecting with you all via email, as I said, with further details around our final series event, which is going to be held on February 21st, 2022. So we had a 3-headed prompt, and this has been a 3-headed series. In the meantime, we look forward to connecting with you all through this map. Please join us for the big event in February. We look forward to sharing what has been collectively reimagined and created together. And I just want to, on behalf of Virajita and myself and the rest of the creative team behind this event, we want to thank once again Nikky Finney, President Gable, today's workshop participants, all of you who've been here watching and either witnessing or participating on your own, thank you. And we also want to thank the planning team behind this event. Just thank you so much for all of the energy that you brought to this and all of the ways you want to positively impact this community and build this city of griots.
Douglas, can I say one last thing?
Yeah, you can, Nikky.
What if everybody in this workshop thought of a person or something that happened that was erased from a map? Erased. Now there's a football field on top of it. Now there's a gymnasium on top of it. Communities that were wiped out. Grandmothers and great-grandmothers who are no longer here, who can't speak. What if we could put back on the map a person, place, or thing? That's the power I'm talking about. That's what what I'm saying. And that is what I am fundamentally cheering us on for, that we individually have the power not to allow anybody to erase our memory, our history, or our future.
I think that's so important, Nikki. And it's one of the reasons why I think the way this map is designed, sure, you could enter an address, but every place doesn't have an address. In fact, somebody's address might be somebody else's erasure.
Right.
So you can find the location, right? You can find the location and you can imprint it there again, just as Nikki's saying. So zoom in, look throughout the map. If it is a place with an address, go there. If it isn't a place with an address, it is there. It is there. And you make sure to put it there so that people can see it. Thank you, Nikki, for that last charge, because that is what we can do with this. There's some in the chat right now.
Come on,
Stuff in the chat right now about freeways being put over it. Entire governments being put on it. I mean, you know, we're gonna talk about it. Something came before the freeway.
The cartographers, the cartographers who make the map of the city have to be designated, assigned. You can't put anything on that map that doesn't go through them. I am saying each of us is a human cartographer. We can draw the map that we understand is not beneath all of this. It's there. We just have to give agency to it. We have to know that name. That's why the details are so important, because that map is the city of Griot's map. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I promise.
Don't do that. But I just wanted to say once again, thank you, and especially thank you for that last additional bit of fire. I'm gonna close off my mic and make sure that there's no other business needs to be taken care of. But for now, everybody, find as much safety as you can. I'm not gonna say stay safe, because a lot of people on this call have never felt safe. So can't stay something you ain't never had. But I will say find safety. And if you can be a part of keeping someone that you care for safe, be a part of building that. But that's enough. I'm just gonna trail out and be just saying random stuff. Okay. I'm getting off script. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, please take care and write, put it down. Put it down. All right. Thank you.